Beautiful people of the interweb. What's going on, everybody? All right. Just dropping in and make a quick little video here wanted to talk about the ego, the shadow, in terms of like shadow work, the shadow in that sense, and how that all relates to the practice of semen retention and also to the practice of fasting. So semen retention and fasting obviously are not the same thing, but they are related. They are similar in nature in that both things involve us denying a very base primal instinct that our bodies are built with. So this base primal instinct to procreate, to keep the species going, that, there's a reward system attached with sexual activity that encourages us to not avoid that sort of behavior. Otherwise, the species would stop existing. So there's a very good reason that human beings crave sex and crave that intimate connection. And there's a reason why we get addicted to the brain chemistry that is associated with that is associated with orgasm, right? There's a reason why that would be an addictive thing, because what an orgasm tells your brain is that you've accomplished something. You've accomplished something very important. If you're a man and you've had an orgasm, your body doesn't really know the difference, whether you were looking at pixels on a screen of some girl that, you've never met and you probably never will and wouldn't care about you if you did, right? There's that. And then there's, you could be using your imagination, or you could just be engaging in sexual activity with another individual, but without the purpose of procreating, right? So your seed might end up anywhere other than where it's intended to go, as nature intended it. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. It just means that as far as your body's concerned, you've just accomplished something that could create life. It's kind of a big deal. So if you just think about this on a biological level, like when my parents conceived me, my dad obviously had a release, and my mom's womb received that, and here I am, my whole life, and everything I have to share, everything I've experienced, everything I will experience, everything that I'll contribute to the world, everything I've consumed and taken from the world, all of it, the culmination of all of that resulted from that one release that my dad made. So if you think about the sense of accomplishment, the dopamine release that's associated with that, it makes perfect sense. That's your body saying, good job, you planted your seed. We need that to happen for the species to continue. So congratulations. Now you get to rest. Now you get to lay on your butt and do nothing. Don't worry about anything for a little while, because you just made life happen. That's a big deal, and you deserve to rest, right? It's essentially what's going on a biochemical, physiological level when you have an orgasm. Your body says, okay, we did very important work, rest now. But if you think about it, if you're sitting in front of a screen, giving yourself that experience synthetically, or if you're engaging in that with a partner for the purpose of fun, you're now putting your body in that physiological state that says, okay, it's time to rest now. We don't need to work. Take it easy for a little while, because you've got a child on the way. So you need to rest, right? But if we're not doing that, if we're not having that release, then we're not experiencing that dopamine hit that says, okay, good job, you accomplished something, chill out now, right? So then the brain now is going to crave for that dopamine experience. It's going to crave for that reward, that indication that you did something right. You're going to crave for it when you stop getting it in sexual ways, naturally. Your brain's going to just be like hungry, devoid of it, because it's learned to depend on certain things to get that experience. So then you might find yourself reaching for substances. Maybe weed's going to be the thing. Maybe overeating. There's a chemical response that comes with eating a huge calorie-rich meal. A similar thing. Your body experiences this dopamine hit that says, good job. You must have hunted really hard And now you ate this big feast, so it's time to chill. You need to relax now so your body can digest, you know? So we get addicted to these dopamine experiences that are really the result of the illusion oftentimes. It's the illusion that we accomplished something. But did we really accomplish anything, right? So the healthy dopamine hits are the ones you get from something you actually accomplished, like a hard workout. You know, working out is a great source of dopamine. You have to work to earn that release, and then you have a sense of calm that results from having worked really hard, and you did it naturally, and now you're getting healthier, right? Of course, working out can become an unhealthy addiction too. I've seen that. I've been there, you know. So we do have to be careful with these things. There's workaholism too. You could be using your job as a dopamine source in an unhealthy way, which isn't to say it's wrong to work and get your dopamine that way. We just have to be very conscious and honest with ourselves about how it is that we are getting dopamine. Dopamine's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of how are you getting it? And are you actually making progress in your life, or are you moving backwards, or are you stagnant? See, if your dopamine hits are coming from things that are moving your life forward, moving you in a direction you want to go in, then you're on the right track. And now those dopamine releases are like, that reward system is now functioning the way it was meant to. It's rewarding you for achieving things, actually achieving things, not having the illusion of having achieved something, which we can so easily accomplish in this world. Video games, you know, corn, sex, you know, food, drugs, alcohol, you name it. All these versions, there are all these ways that we trick ourselves into having accomplished something, right? So when we remove all of this stuff, when we remove these dopamine hits, we start to experience these cravings. We want to get it other ways. So then we have to get into a lifestyle where we're getting it naturally and healthily and in a way that's progressing our life forward. So I started off by talking about the ego, the shadow, right? So this is part of the value of setting aside something like sexual activity and lust. So just putting it completely aside. Let's say too, for you, drinking is a habit. You habitually drink. Maybe it's not like out of control for you, but you have to do it every night after work or something, or it's like a regular thing. Or maybe it's coffee. You feel totally dependent on coffee. You know, it's not to say, I'm not sitting here saying, you know, nobody should drink coffee, or nobody should drink alcohol, or nobody should smoke weed, or nobody should play video games. I'm not saying any of that. Or nobody should have sex. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that any of these things can become sort of synthetic, illusory ways for us to trick ourselves into feeling like we've accomplished something, okay? And if that's the case, then that thing should be removed, at least for the time, at least for the necessary amount of time it takes for you to feel into what it is that made you reach for that thing in the first place. And this is where the shadow work comes into play. So this is why semen retention will force you to do shadow work. It's going to force you to deal with some deep-seated stuff that you've been avoiding through this habitual activity. So the same thing as if you're a chronic weed smoker. You take weed out of your life, same thing's going to happen. You're going to be forced to deal with some stuff. You're going to discover what the reasons are that you are so attached to weed in the first place. And it's going to be really valuable information for you to know. Whether you continue not smoking weed or not is beside the point. Like, I'm not here to villainize or demonize any of these substances. I'm just here to promote self-honesty about why are we using these things? What are we getting out of it? And is it progressing us? Or is it helping us avoid taking a deeper look at something that we really need to look at, right? It's almost like just putting all your trash in the closet and just closing it, forgetting about it. It's like you can only do that for so long. You know, at a certain point, that door is going to come crashing down. All that trash is going to float. You know, I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. You can only sweep so much dirt under your rug. This is what I'm getting at. It's like we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to do this work where we take a look at where it is that we're selling ourselves short, where it is that we're sabotaging ourselves, where it is that we're not being as kind to other people as we could be. Are we offering the world the best version of ourselves? Or are we offering the world a watered down, dumbed down, distracted, tired, you know, adrenally fatigued, overworked, underslept, or overslept, underworked, whatever? Are we offering the world our best self, or are we offering a limited version of it? That's the question. And if the version that you're offering you can't honestly say is the best, then you've got to get clear on what it is that's standing in your way. So eliminating lust for virtually anybody is going to do incredible things for you and your life and your mentality. It's going to force you to do some very necessary shadow work. Now, if you can get to a point on the semen retention path to where you're kind of in a flow with that and your body's sort of acclimated and you're not having these like withdrawal symptoms from the dopamine, now maybe you can take it to another level. Now maybe you can say, well, what else in my life is getting in the way of me being my best self, and can I eliminate it? So maybe that for you, it might look like eliminating weed, if weed's a thing. Maybe it looks like eliminating alcohol. Maybe it looks like eliminating certain foods from your diet. Eliminating, sugary processed foods from your diet, fast food, greasy foods, French fries, eliminating these things in addition to being on retention. And that's going to take things to a whole nother level. It's going to force you to do some deeper shadow work because you're eliminating these distractions and these synthetic forms of, I've accomplished something. So you really want to take this to a high level. You could start incorporating fasting, full on fasting with the semen retention journey. And this is when, for me personally, this is why I'm making this video, is because I've been doing a lot more fasting lately and I'm watching things get very, very difficult. And I'm feeling like I'm having more spiritual attacks all of a sudden because I'm stepping my game up. I'm more productive at work. I'm making more money. I've made some serious moves in terms of my career. A lot of things in my life that I was procrastinating on, I've accomplished because I've been on this path. And so because I'm now making real progress, I'm experiencing real resistance against that. And so I decided, a week ago that I was going to do a very strict series of fasts this week, which I'm now, I think 4 days into. I'm trying to go 10 days. And I'm noticing that a lot of stuff that I didn't know was still there is coming up. It's coming up when I get hungry, and I notice this deep urge to just sort of shut that up with food. Like I just want to eat a meal so big that I can't think. And I'm like fantasizing about food. And now I'm experiencing like a form of lust that isn't sexual. It's over food and what food does for me. And this is how powerful fasting is. It's now forcing me. Well, it's like, well, what is it in myself? Why is it hard to just sit with myself? What am I avoiding? What is the food in the sense, in an emotional sense? What is the food doing for me? And that's what I'm being forced to look at as I'm fasting. And man, it's hard. It's really hard. I'm not going to lie. And, tonight I got to go serve, high-end steaks all night to old people. I'm going to be looking at and smelling delicious food all night, and I'm not going to be eating any of it. And I'm going to come home feeling hungry, and I'm going to go to sleep that way. And this is not easy, right? And I don't have a girl to distract me. I don't have this to distract me. I'm not doing anything to distract myself. I got rid of my video games. I got rid of my TV. I'm in it. I'm just in it. And it's hard, but hard things are worth doing. Hard things make you stronger. They make you wiser. And so I'll just close this out with, I wear this around my wrist to remind myself. This is from Philippians in the Bible. It says Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is the words of Paul. And I believe that is facts. There's nothing we can't do when we have a connection with the true Most High God. There's nothing we can't do. That God will give you the comfort you think you needed elsewhere. And so that's why these things are valuable. That's why this retention, fasting, all of these things are really valuable, because in these moments when we're forced to confront our shadow, these aspects of ourselves that we may not like, aspects of our ego that maybe we don't like, God will comfort you in that. because God sees your heart and God sees that you are on a path towards becoming your highest self. And God wants that for you. So with that, signing out.